This episode is for the writer who thinks that they are stuck in a writer's block. I've actually been trying to decode writer's block for a long time, and anytime I tried to create a resource for you, it felt surface level and generic. But recently, I had a massive breakthrough with my own writing, and now I get to bring it to you. At the end of the episode, I will be sharing a brand new free resource that I made so that you can crack your own writer's blocks. Let's go.
You are listening to the Memoir Method podcast, the place for writers, readers, and anyone who appreciates the collective power of our stories. In this podcast, we explore the impact of memoir alongside an examination of writing techniques and strategies used in the genre. Whether you are a writer looking for inspiration and guidance or a passionate reader seeking meaningful connections through shared experiences, the Memoir Method podcast is your go-to conversation spot. I'm your host, Charlotte, editor, writer, and the heart behind Charlotte Writes. Let's get started.
Like I mentioned in the intro, I've tried to create a writer's block resource before. From a marketing perspective, it's made a lot of sense to me to help writers with writer's block. It's something that every creative knows about, has grappled with at some point, but no matter how much I try to figure out how to help you with writer's block, I could not find the source beneath the frustration. Everything I could think of was generic and ultimately unhelpful. I intuitively knew that writer's block was deeper than just not knowing what to write, a lack of inspiration, but it still remained vague and nebulous. Writer's block is more than just try a new writing spot or write morning pages. Yes, those tools can be helpful, but they are not the core of writer's block. So if you've been around here for a second, you will know that I am in the middle of drafting my own memoir and essays. I also have a Substack that I started to begin the conversation right now that's driving my memoir. My Substack content has been stop and start, and I hadn't looked at my essay collection draft in a very long time. Probably a year. So here's what was happening. First off, I was waiting for things to calm down to invest in my own writing. Second, writer's block wasn't just that I didn't know what to write. This wasn't a lack of inspiration. It was also showing up as a lack of motivation. I didn't really want to. My writer's block was showing up in what felt like valid reasons for not investing time and energy into my own writing. The classic delay tactics that I can spot my clients from a mile away, I was just letting run in the background on repeat, giving me excuses and making me feel better in the moment for, oh yeah, I'm just not going to work on that right now. And third, this is where I feel a little sheepish, but this is what was really happening underneath this writer's block for me. I wasn't taking my own writing seriously, not as much as I needed to. And I see this happen in my clients, usually early on in our work together. But for whatever reason, it took a long time before I could see it in myself. So I've been feeling this internal tension for a few months, like something wasn't where it was supposed to be. And I realized after some journaling that what was missing in my life and even in this business is my own writing. What was missing in the way that I'm able to help you is my own experiences as a writer. And I realized that if I kept doing what I was doing, which was procrastinating, putting it off, telling myself not now, not doing what I needed to do to want to even dive into my work, if I kept doing that, I would never finish my draft. I would never publish. And I would never have the public conversations that I'm so interested and invested in having. I know that what I'm writing will have impact, but if I don't write it, then what? And I looked ahead. I'm like, okay, if I haven't published this, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, if I hadn't published this essay collection, if I haven't become well known in my circles, how would I feel? What would I think? And I realized if I look back when I'm 70 years old, I'd be so disappointed if I stayed the current course that I'm on. And that was my wake-up call. Once I realized this, I saw that the way that I was allocating my time and my energy was actually incongruent with who I needed to be a writer. This creative shift I needed to make would require more of me than I'd realized, and that was a little scary. Also, this shift has been 100% worth it. I have felt like a new human across the board when I have decided to take my writing seriously. So are you seeing the deeper cause of writer's block yet? This creative phenomenon has nothing to do with your ideas, your discipline, or even your talent. Writer's block is not a writing problem. Writer's block is an identity and mindset block. In my head, I had this old story running without even recognizing it. I had to wait until XYZ was taken care of before I could, quote, justify investing my time and energy into my writing. That was the programming that was running the show for me. That was the primary narrative running in my head without me even being conscious of it. And that narrative served its purpose. Now it's time to write a new one. That friction I was feeling in my body and my energy, that was my subconscious telling me, hey, it's time to shift your internal narrative. So every time you sit down to write and end up pulling out your phone to scroll Instagram, or you open a tab on your browser to read through another writer's newsletter, you're not lazy. You're actually just running according to an old code in your internal wiring. That's what was happening with me. This is probably happening with you in some capacity. So when I'm talking about an old code, an old story running, this could look like the belief or the thought or the worry, would anyone actually want to read this? A lot of writers come to me with that, actually. Or I'm not as good as so-and-so. I should wait to be public with my writing until I'm better. I've missed my window to be successful at this. That's one that I had several years ago. What am I thinking that I could actually do this? I need to understand the publishing landscape better before I can write and publish. You see how these are all stories, beliefs, thoughts, coding that's running in your head that is sabotaging you without you even realizing it. Okay, you've heard me talk about the rewrite loop before. The cycle of showing up to your writing, feeling overwhelmed, second-guessing every creative decision, investing time and money in quick fixes or editors who don't actually get your story, and then looping back to the overwhelm. I've talked a lot about the rewrite loop. I will actually link to the training where I break that down in more detail in the show notes. But the root of the rewrite loop, and this is a more recent breakthrough that I've had, the root of the rewrite loop is found in your personal writer's block, the way that you see yourself as a creative writer. The longer you stay in this loop, the more foreign your own voice will start to feel to you. The greater pull this block will have in your creative life. The longer you are unaware of that old programming, the more you actually believe that it's true. But now, after even just listening to this episode, you know now that you have old programming running your inner dialogue. And even if you're not sure yet on what your specific coding is, what your old story is, you know that there are old stories running, and now you can't unsee it. This coding is just a pattern. It's not truth just because you think it. It's just coding. It's just old programming. It's not permanent. Patterns, even thought patterns, these are something that we can change. You get to change your patterns around your creative thinking. So when I stopped looking and waiting for inspiration or motivation even, and I started examining everything that was running in my psyche's background, stale stories, unacknowledged fears, this broken code, everything shifted in my creative life, and it shifted quickly. I started having new Substack subscribers come in daily. A magazine emailed out one of my essays to 15,000 people. Ideas flooded in so fast that I could barely get them down in a notebook. It's easy and fun for me to show up on Substack, even to show up on Instagram on my writing account. It's easy and fun, and it flows. And that is magnetic to people who care about the conversations that I also care about. These external results did not happen because my calendar suddenly made more time for me or my talent level magically upgraded. I just stopped operating under old programming. I took myself seriously immediately. I realized I'm not taking myself seriously. I tell my writers to do this. I'm not even doing it for me. And I decided right then, no, I'm taking myself seriously. It happened fast. I made room for myself in the creative spaces that I care about, and my external reality responded. the rapidity with which this shift happened from me deciding to take my writing seriously to an external result was wildly fast. Writer's block is not a static, impermeable state. It's just a thought pattern ready for an upgrade. So as soon as I decided to rewrite and commit to this new programming, my internal and external writing life changed, and they changed fast. So here's what I have for you. I created the Writer's Block Decoder. I built this worksheet because if I had something like this sooner, I would have broken out of my own rewrite loop so much earlier. If I had understood what writer's block actually is, an old story, that's it. If I'd understood what it was sooner, then I wouldn't have kept making excuses for why I couldn't write right now. So the decoder is so simple. It's a Google Doc with a handful of prompts designed to help you see your own stories more clearly. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The identity transformation is scary, but now that I can clearly see what I'd be sacrificing if I didn't change, the old programming has to go. I'm really excited about this new story that's running constantly in my subconscious and my conscious, right? The real work behind decoding your writer's block starts here, not with your writing routines. That's an external manifestation of what's actually going on in your internal narrative. And chances are, if you're here listening to this, it's time for you to rewrite some of your internal narrative. The Writer's Block Decoder is what will get you started. It is free. I will link to that in the show notes. Please go download it. Please let me know what comes through for you, because when I tell you that these shifts happen fast, they happen fast. If you are ready for the deeper work behind the creative upgrade and reprogramming, you will want to be in the room for what I'm calling the Writer's Workshop. This is happening at the end of June. It's a 3-part workshop series where we not only break down the old programming and rewrite a new internal narrative for yourself, we actually take that new coding and actively integrate it with your writing practice. So we take the internal narrative and then apply it to your external life to create those fast results. Okay. The Writer's Workshop is only $77. Again, it's 3 workshops over the course of 5 days, and we will completely transform your writing life from the inside out. We kick off live on June 22nd with the first workshop. I will drop the link in the show notes for you so you can learn everything that you need to know about whether you would be a good fit for this series. I'm really excited to present this. I've had a lot of fun creating it behind the scenes, because this is the information that I was wanting and needing when I was feeling stalled out in my own writing practice. Being a writer truly is a whole-bodied identity. You can't half-ass it. And it's work that can feel overwhelming and paralyzing if you don't know where to start. If you don't know where or how to start reprogramming that internal narrative, it can feel really crippling. But that is what I'm here to help walk you through, piece apart, and then put back together a writing practice, a writing rhythm, a writing life that feels genuine, that feels exciting, that feels like, yes, you can do this. Yes, you are meant for this. The Writer's Workshop is going to give you that place to start rewiring that personal internal narrative so that you can show up as the writer that you actually want to be. And the link to everything that I talked about in the episode, including the free Writer's Block Decoder and the link to enroll in the Writer's Workshop, is in the show notes. I really hope that I see you in the room on June 22nd. When you go download the Writer's Decoder, please reply to the email and let me know what comes through for you. I'd love to hear your own breakthroughs and insights. And until then, I will be in your ears next week.
You've just listened to an episode of the Memoir Method Podcast. The Memoir Method Podcast is presented by Charlotte Writes. If you liked what you heard, the best way to support the show is to subscribe through your preferred podcast player. And if you're feeling especially inspired, I'd love it if you left a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Leaving a review really does help other readers and writers like yourself find the show. If you want to continue the conversation, you can find me on my website at charlottewrites.co or on Instagram at charlottejanewrites. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. And remember that you have a story that matters.